Hi, this is Zak Mir with the US Chartbreakers here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Friday the 30th of May. Starting off with the S&P, which is trading in a range, I suppose, between 5,900 and towards 6,000. We've got the potential support there, 5,770, which worked a week or so ago. And looking for a clearance of 6,000 to give us a move up to the best case scenario target at the top of the broadening triangle there from back in June last year, 63.30. We do break down then the 50-day line at 5,600, probably the worst case that we're looking at, but ideally we stay at 5,770 or above. Moving on to the Nasdaq, and this is relatively in a relatively better place, although we had a failed attempt to break through 21,500, which is rather disappointing. End of day close through 21,500. We're looking for the top of the triangle on this chart, which is as high as 22,800 by the end of next month. Hoping that recent support, last week's support, 20,800, will keep any losses under control. Moving on to the stocks, and quite a few winners, just even from a 24 hours ago basis. But the first one is Alzamend, and here, not quite the type of stock or the chart that we always normally like to see, but definitely worth having a look at the moment, in the sense that we've had a failed attempt to get through the 50-day line there, $6.41. Need an end-of-day close above that to give us a retest of the $10 plus area, where the shares were even as recently as March. But below that 50-day line, we've got the risk of a test of the lows, and perhaps even new lows. Moving along to something more conventionally positive, which is Bionexus, and here, beautiful bull trap, the bull flag rather, above old resistance around $3.20. Above that, looking for the top of the triangle, which we have drawn before there at $5 plus, hopefully by the end of next month or even sooner. Any dips towards $3.20 probably currently regarded as a buying opportunity. RSI bounced at neutral 50 for the second time in a week, and also we've got the rising 50-day line, so it looks like a nice turnaround there, sort of inverted head and shoulders turnaround. Moving along to Claritev, and here slightly messy, given the way that we've had, obviously, the shares at a rather painful time on the left-hand side of the chart. The current situation is we've got rising trend channel base, top of the channel there, heading for $45. We're looking for that by the end of next month, while we remain above the middle of yesterday's range, which I suppose was around the $32 marks, above 32, looking for 45 there on Claritev. Onto a stock which I looked at yesterday and is doing rather well today. We've hit the initial target there, just under $4, above $4, looking for a fresh leg to the upside, as high as $6.50 by the end of next month, helped along by the unfilled gap to the upside, and the way that the 50-day line at $2.34 is starting to rise. Another repeat from yesterday is DDC, or from earlier in the week at least. Here you can see that we've hit our first, we've actually gone through our first target there, the top of that falling trend channel there at $6. Above that now, looking for $9.20 by the end of next month, which is the top of a broadening triangle from back in November. The other point to note is we've had 2 or 3 bounces for the RSI at and above neutral 50, which gives this situation a decent look. But ideally, as I said, we stay above the $6 area, whatever happens. New name coming up now, which is E.L.F, and here it is a situation where we've got a bear trap island reversal. We've had 2 gaps to the downside, 2 gaps to the upside, and at the moment, while we're above one of the recent gaps there back in January around $100, looking for the shares to eventually, maybe on a 2-month view, get up to $176. The top of that triangle, I think $100 is probably the tightest you could make this, unless you see the other resistance, or the old resistance, on the way down around 106, 107, but that may be a little bit tight. Next on the list is a stock called LZ Technology, and here we managed to blow the doors off the initial target there, the top of that rising trend channel base at $20, and you can see the stock, even without our help, managed to get to the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from February, as high as $32. That's still the target. Maybe we could squeeze $33 before the latest rally peters out, and ideally we stay on the right side of $24, basically yesterday's support area. One of the best situations of the recent past has been SharpLink. And here you can see that we started off with a broadening triangle base target, which was towards the $10 area. Obviously, we've rather blown the doors off on that. And after we spiked up, we had the potential support there around $28. And even that has been taken out there at 53. And the view now is that while we're above 53, we're looking for a retest of yesterday's peak through towards 93. Moving along to a stock which I don't think we've looked at before, Webus, but here very volatile and interesting in the sense that we've hit that resistance line there around $4 yesterday and closed below it. This stage perhaps we'll get a fill of the one of the recent gaps there at $3, so maybe that's potential support. So at least above $3, looking for $4 to break and up to as high as $4.70 as the best case scenario target, but that's a bear trap behind reversal and quite a turnaround for the situation. Finishing off with Zio, which you've clearly looked at before given the old trend lines there. Here you can see the shares managed to break through the top of that falling trend channel there, $3.20 or so. We need an end of day close back above that to give us a target towards $4.50 by the end of next month. Otherwise, probably looking for support around the $2.60 area or $2.70 area, which was resistance on the way down. That's it for me today. More updates over the weekend.